Peppers of different shapes and sizes bring color to gardens in the summer. Pepper is a distinct summer vegetable grown from seedlings, and in our climate it ripens in time and produces crops from June to October, also in November if there is no frost. Although many gardeners place peppers in the same category as tomatoes, there are different plants as far as their requirements are considered. Peppers require much more wetter soil and atmosphere, and also mold poses no threat, so they can be easily grown outdoors. However, it is also a suitable plant for greenhouse growing, thus obtaining an earlier crop. As many of you may know, peppers are typically sown once a year, with the exception of simultaneous growing in both greenhouse and open field environments. In these cases, the peppers are sown in 2 consecutive phases. In this course about growing peppers, we'll be focusing on growing them in an open field, as this is a still more common practice in our region. We saw them late February. We'll also touch upon the specifics of growing peppers in a greenhouse environment. For those of you who choose to grow peppers in a greenhouse, it's important to note that the process should start about 20 days earlier, early February. In both cases, pepper seedlings should be grown indoors or in heated spaces with enough light. To start, sow the seeds densely in a seed tray and place them in a warm place during germination. The ideal temperature for germination is 25 degrees Celsius. Be sure to sow the seeds in a moist substrate and cover them with 0.5 centimeters of dry substrate. As peppers germinate successfully in the dark, cover the seed tray to ensure better germination due to more uniform humidity. As soon as you can spot the first germ, which can happen as early as 5 days after sowing, uncover the tray and move it to a place with more light. When the first 2 leaves open and horizontally align, and before the true leaves develop within 10 to 14 days of sowing, prick out the plants into individual medium-sized planting units with a quality substrate mixture. We planted peppers 14 days ago, but nothing is happening. The seeds have not germinated, and there are a lot of things that could have gone wrong, but I think that germination temperature was not sufficient enough because the radiator was not heating all the time during germination. However, aubergines did germinate in the same conditions, so there's also a slight possibility that the pepper seeds are simply not viable. It was suspicious to me already after 10 days, but we will wait a few more days. If we don't see any sign of life, we will repeat the sowing of peppers. Our shy peppers have finally emerged and are starting to open their first leaves, finally. We will also transplant some plants that have not developed leaves, just for demonstration to show that this is also possible. During this procedure, we can also carry out the process of natural selection, as we select well-developed plants. But since we only have a few plants, we will transplant all of them. Since our plants have already grown too tall, we plant them deeper, all the way down to the first leaves. Do not touch the roots or plants, but use a wooden or a plastic stick to help them when breaking them out. Pepper seedlings can also be grown in pairs in a medium or a large size planting unit. Namely, peppers can grow in close proximity to one another on a garden bed, and can therefore be transplanted into the garden bed as pairs or triples. This method of seedling preparation can be used if there is a lack of space. Place the plants in a place with sufficient light and with temperatures between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius. This is suitable for most plants that are growing now from seedlings. Night temperatures can be allowed to drop as low as 10 degrees Celsius. Peppers have outgrown the medium-sized planting unit after around 40 days of sowing and should therefore be transplanted into a larger planting unit. Seedlings should still be kept indoors under the lights. Before transplanting peppers on an outdoor bed in mid-May, harden them off by placing them along a south-facing wall or in a greenhouse for at least 4 days in order for them to adjust to outdoor temperatures, especially to night temperatures fluctuations. This is especially important when the seedlings have been grown under the lights. We have to be careful when exposing them to direct sunlight. On the first day, they should preferably be placed on a partly shaded location. Also, keep an eye on them so that they do not get sunscald on the first hour. When temperatures drop below 7 degrees Celsius, the seedlings should be moved overnight to a warm place. Temperature shocks are damaging to peppers, slowing them down in growth for a week or even more. The same applies when hardening off the seedlings for transplanting into a greenhouse. They are hardened off in the greenhouse. Also, they should be gradually exposed to direct sunlight and the influence of day and night temperature fluctuations. On cold nights, the seedlings should be moved to a warm place. After 70 to 80 days, the seedling should be about 25 centimeters in height, and if the plant was growing really well, a flower bud can already be seen. They should be transplanted into the greenhouse in late April or early May. Transplanting seedlings in an open garden can take place from mid-May all the way to late June. We should note that peppers are much more sensitive to lower temperatures than peppers, so planting them into the garden bed could take place a week or even 2 after the tomatoes. Water the planting hole extensively if the weather was dry, and also water the entire surface of the peppers bed. The soil around the seedlings can be covered with summer mulch, leaves, grass clippings, or straw immediately after the transplantation. There should be a space of 40 centimeters between planted seedlings. Peppers grow well when planted densely. On 75 centimeters wide garden bed, they should grow in 2 rows. Wider garden beds can hold up to 3 rows at most, with plants planted in a zigzag pattern. If the weather is still cold, we can install low tunnel hoops over the garden bed and peppers covered with garden fleece to create a warmer environment for a week or 2. The seedlings are not yet big enough to need immediate support, so we can use this opportunity to provide extra warmth for the peppers during the month of May, mostly during the nighttime. Peppers really love warm locations, so they also like to be placed along a south-facing wall of a house or retaining wall. From June onwards, peppers need support. Individual support for each pepper requires a lot of work. In practice, pea netting spread horizontally in 3 levels works best. Thus, the plants intertwine and support each other without the need to provide support for each plant individually. Thanks to the support from the horizontal netting, it is not necessary to attach individual plants to support stakes, because the branches intertwine into the netting. Strong winds or storms will not be able to take down any single plant. This greatly simplifies pepper growing in open garden and also in the greenhouse. When it comes to peppers and side shoots, we can pinch out side shoots and train the plant to grow in 1 or 2 stems. This is a common practice in professional production in greenhouses and with suitable varieties, where peppers grow mostly upward. This is not something that is usually done in home gardens, even if peppers are grown in a greenhouse. When growing peppers in a greenhouse, there is no use worrying about pollination because the flowers are self-pollinated. This means that the wind itself is enough for pollination, or we shake the plant by hand and pollination occurs. Pepper leaves, even older ones, do not have to be removed during growth. When planting the seedlings tightly spaced, we shade the surface, and with added summer mulch, the need for watering is lower than when spacing peppers further apart, where there is sun-exposed soil between the plants. However, watering is still recommended in order to achieve a better crop yield. If there is no rain in our area for 14 days straight, we water the peppers extensively, but on hot summer days, it's better to regularly water them every 5 days. In the greenhouse, we water the peppers even more often or use a drip watering system. Before planting peppers, it's best to grow spinach, radishes, or lettuce on the same bed. These plants can also be grown simultaneously with peppers for a week or 2. Because peppers can be planted very close to one another, there's not much space left on the garden bed after transplantation. Peppers stay on the garden bed well into autumn, which prevents sowing or transplanting of any other vegetables, so the garden bed remains empty after the pepper plants have been removed. The roots of young pepper seedlings are prone to mole cricket attacks. Voles also seem to like young pepper roots. Due to the weather fluctuation, the fruits may start to rot or the fertilization does not take place inside the flower. The greatest damage to pepper fruits is caused by caterpillars of the Arabidae family of moths, which are active from late May to October. Holes they cause are also problematic because water can now penetrate during the rain, and this leads to fruit rotting. The presence of these caterpillars can be seen by a small hole near the fruit stalk, and when the fruit is cut in half, a caterpillar can be found around the seeds. With peppers, molds are not problematic like they are with tomatoes. If the year is dry, lower air humidity, peppers have a lower yield even with regular watering than they do in a wet year. Have you planted red pepper seedlings, but they turn out to be green or yellow? This is normal because green peppers are actually still unripe red peppers. Wait a few weeks more for the fruits to ripen and turn red. This is similar to green tomatoes, which already form the final size and shape of the fruit, but then it takes a few more weeks to ripen and change the color. Green peppers, although not yet physiologically ripe, can already be used in the kitchen. They are not as sweet as red peppers. Unripe peppers are also thinner and a little harder to digest than ripe peppers. Peppers of other colors, yellow, orange, also change the shades of their color while ripening and are at first never as sweet as they are when they are fully mature. As the peppers ripen, they generally get more intense color. Peppers are harvested from June to October, even in November if the autumn is warm. Use a kitchen or a finger knife to harvest the fruit, or simply just twist the fruit from the plant. The stalk is thick enough to support the weight of the fruit, so tearing the fruit by hand can cause wounds to the plant. We have been harvesting pepper all summer, but only in late summer they turn red. Today we harvested a whole wheelbarrow for making a spread and to be cut in small pieces and preserved in a freezer for winter, which come in handy when preparing various dishes during the winter. For long-term storage, peppers work perfectly in combination with other summer vegetables in the form of vegetable sauces and spreads that are cooked or preserved by pickling. Peppers can also be pickled in vinegar alone without any other vegetables. We can also easily collect seeds of peppers. We collect only from their red or physiologically ripe fruit, where the seeds are completely developed. We only dry them for a day or two, and then they're ready for the next year sowing. Congratulations on wrapping up our peppers cultivation course. With the know-how you've acquired, you're prepared to grow a wheelbarrow of peppers. As you harvest these vibrant fruits, each one is a testament to your gardening skill and dedication. Our other courses are the ticket to expand your gardening expertise, and like this, we keep becoming gardeners together.